and welcome to the Music Polyglot channel. Today we'll have a look at Bad News, Good News by Lindsey Lomis. A very interesting tune with a couple of very dramatic changes in tempo as well as in time signature. But panic not, I'll show you exactly what it is that you need to do in order to play this the way she plays it and the way it sounds on the record. Let's have a look at that in a close-up. So let's get straight into talking about that main riff. We are in standard tuning, no capo, we're finger picking, and we're going to be palm muting. And actually, I say finger picking, but it's really only the thumb and the index that we're going to be using on our picking hand. So let me play you that main riff. First at tempo, then I'll play it a bit slower, and then we'll talk about how to make it sound like she plays it. So here we go. Let's hear that slow. Okay, so the first thing you will have noticed about that is the palm muting, so we're palm muting throughout. The second thing that you may have noticed is that the feel is a little bit kind of weird. And that's because we are in an unusual time signature. We are in 7/8, but it's only during the intro. And I mean, arguably in the outro as well. Okay, let's say that the outro is also in 7/8. The rest of it will be in our more usual 4/4. We start off by playing the open E, open. Then, with our index and our ring fingers, we'll hammer on from fret 2 to fret 4 of the A string. So far we have, and then we play the open D string open. So far, okay. Then, with our index, we play that E on the second fret of the D string together with the thumb and the low open E. Okay, so far. Right? Okay, so. Then we had that ring finger on the fourth fret of the A string with the thumb and the open D with the index. So we're actually using the thumb for both the low sixth, so that's the low E string and the A string, and the index really is only playing the D string, right, when it needs to play it. For everything else, it's the thumb. So far we had, and then we just play that fourth fret of the A string with the thumb one more time. So we have, and that's the riff. In terms of the timing, I wouldn't get too caught up in kind of trying to count it or anything, but I should, because I'm showing it to you, so you would count this like 1, 2, and 6, 7, 1, 2, and 6, 7. Okay, so this is in 7/8. The good thing is that on the second chord, it's actually the same chord, but in the second shape, the rhythm is exactly the same. Let me play it to you slowly so that you can see what's going on, and then we'll talk about the fingering. Okay, so you probably noticed that the beginning is the same as the previous shape up to the first open D, right? So the open E, the hammer on from the second fret of the A string to the fourth, and the open D. That's all the same as on the previous chord. But then we come up to the 7th fret, and we're going to use our pinky now on the 7th fret of the D string and our ring finger on the 7th fret of the A string, and the second half of this goes. Okay, so that was open E, low E, with the thumb, together with the pinky on the 7th fret of the D string, and we're playing that with our index. 2 at the same time. And then we play 5th string, and then we actually take off the pinky and replace it with the middle finger on the 6th fret of the D string. And then the thumb on the A string again. So, okay, let's hear that second shape one more time. So that was same rhythm as before. So that's 1, 2, and 6, 7, 1, 2, and 6, 7, 1. Okay, so those are the 2 shapes. So during the intro, you only play this full sequence once, right? So you go second shape, then back to the first, but then you do this. Okay, timing and rhythm is the same, but here the shape is you kind of fret a power chord on the 5th fret of the low E. So it's almost like an A power chord, except that obviously you're going to be playing the open D. So that's thumb, thumb, index, thumb. Okay. And then you drop the exact power chord shape down 2 frets to G, and you play the same thing. Cool. On this G, the feel is going to change because this is where we transition to thinking in 4/4. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So the good thing is that during the verses, we're playing the same riff. So that one, except that it's played like this. Did you notice the difference? There's no difference in how you play it. The only tiny little difference is that instead of this being in 7/8, it's in a straight 4/4. How do you kind of achieve that? How do you add that extra 8th note that you need? Well, on the first shape, you literally just play it. So when you get to the end, you play that note twice. So instead of 7, you'll have 8 8th notes in the bar. So dun dun. On the second one, you kind of let that last E that you play there, you just let it ring out for an extra 8th note, and that adds up to the 8 that you want. When you play into the track, this will sound completely obvious because you'll be following the beat that's super present on that track. So don't worry too much about it. Don't overthink it, but just be aware that, you know, this is what happens, and it is indeed different in the intro and in the verse. This difference will become very important when you go and play the outro, because in the outro, and this is actually a good time to talk about this, in the outro you have that beat as well that's going as if you were in 4/4, but you're actually playing the riffs in 7 like you did in the intro. So you have this kind of traveling riff that it sounds like it's on the beat the first time, and it sounds like it's off beat on the second time, and then on beat, off beat again. And that's just the effect that you get of the 7/8 traveling through the 4/4 beat. That might sound a little bit esoteric, but if you play along to the track enough, you'll get it. And if you have any questions, don't forget that I read and reply to everything. Just leave your question in the comment below. Cool, so how's it going so far? Remember that if you need the tabs and sheet music for this song, that's available to all my Patreons on my Patreon page. Check the link in the description below. The choruses are very, very simple. Let me play them for you once, and then we'll talk about what happens. 3, 4... and then we're back into the verses. Okay, so you will have seen that the chords are actually super simple. We are playing an A major full barre. This is an E shape, but you were playing on the 5th fret, right? A full A major bar chord that then will drop down to a G major bar chord. And the 3rd chord will be a D major 7. And that's the only 3 chords that you have. In terms of the rhythm, this goes 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2, 3 and 4. The first time and the second time. On the 3rd time, the rhythm changes slightly, and the only, the main difference is that you actually don't play on the 1 anymore. You're playing more stabs than anything, so you'll be playing on 2. 1, 2, 3. I mute strum on 4, and again 2, 3, mute on 4. 1, 2, 3, mute strum on 4, and again. And at the end you go back to, which was kind of the tag at the end of the main riff. Remember when you had that A power chord shape down to the G power chord shape. Obviously we're going back to finger picking and palm muting and all that for that transition. The main thing to kind of bear in mind when we're transitioning from and to the chorus is that the tempo is different. Okay, there is metric modulation that happens here. We're essentially going from around 80 BPM in the verses to down to 60. There is a way that you could count this, but that's overcomplicating things. The main thing to realize is that you do get slower, so you need to follow the vocals in order to make sure that you're playing at the right tempo. And then this little transition is already back in the original tempo, so the faster tempo that you'll use for the verses and for the outro. Okay, so that is quite unusual. It's not common to change tempo so dramatically between one section and the next, but that's definitely what happens here, so don't let that throw you off. So obviously you are aware that in the choruses in the original recording, the studio version, there's really no acoustic guitar in those sections, right? There's some electric guitar parts, etc., but the guitar part is barely. The acoustic guitar isn't really playing, especially not playing the chords, but when she plays this live, she plays what I just showed you. So that's the part you might want to learn. How was it? I hope it wasn't too hard, and I hope it was clear enough. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I reply to everything, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.